Shakur didn't just outbox Teo, he outthought him. While Teo feinted and chased counters, Shakur stayed stoic, downloaded patterns, then weaponized the jab and landed effortless step-back counters. Each round, Shakur owned the center of the ring, set traps, and punished every right hand to the body idea. Teo switched stances, forced flurries, even bled, but never changed the narrative. It was a pure masterclass, Floyd-like control. And is it the best jab in boxing?
So let's get straight in and go through the fight. I was really looking forward to this fight. So at the beginning, Shakur looked stoic. He didn't have that confident look that he would develop later in the fight, but he was stoic. Teo looked quite fidgety from my recollection. Confident but fidgety, but no one looked overconfident before the first bell. Before the first bell, my thought process was counter-punching would be essential because they're both very good counter-punches. So that was an essential part of the fight, and also the punch output and innovation from Teo could be significant. So in round one, Teo kind of starts with like feints, gets off a double jab. I believe he tried an overhand right that missed. And there was some punch creativity from Teo here. He at one point threw a right hand to the body and then threw a right hand to the head. And then I think he was behind a bunch of feints, but then he threw a straight right to the body and then a left hook to the head. Now, they didn't land, but he was trying things. And Shakur threw like a looping left. And then Teo caught it, tried to counter, but he missed the counter. But there was some positive signs here that there was going to be, Teo was going to bring that level of innovation. Still, he wasn't being aggressive enough, but there was an element of aggressiveness. And Shakur, I guess, was stoic. He wasn't smiling. He was just, it looked like he was almost downloading the data. He was like he was observing the enemy to see what they're bringing to the table. When I say he, Shakur was moving left, moving right from the southpaw position, and he was using that jab, stepping back with those beautiful jab counters. Then in round two, and this was the shift. So in round one, Shakur's moving left and right. He's doing the step back, which is effective. He's introducing the jab. But now he's starting to take the center of the ring. And I think that was significant. And the step back is coming with a jab counter, and Teo is missing. Now, he's feinting. He is catching counters, but he's missing and he's struggling with the jab. In round three, Shakur again is countering with the step back. Teo was really struggling with the step back counter and the jabs. He's not able to implement his feints effectively, and the innovation isn't there. And Shakur at this point starts smiling. So we've gone from stoic, from the Shakur perspective, we've gone from stoic to now smiling, feeling very, very comfortable. You could argue that Shakur has taken the 3 rounds. The first round, maybe you could argue, was a toss-up. In round 4, again, and this is key, Shakur starts taking the center of the ring. Now, in fairness, Teo is sometimes voluntarily giving up the center of the ring and is trying to counterpunch. I'm assuming he's looking for a counterpunch and to unleash off the counterpunch, but it's not working. Shakur is controlling the distance and he's winning the counterpunch game. As I stated, the counterpunch game was going to be essential. Now, Teo at times is switching southpaw. I'm guessing he's trying to find a new angle. Maybe they've been working on something, but it's ineffective. He switches for like 10 seconds and then goes back to orthodox. But here's the kicker. Shakur's body language is improving. Teo is remaining the same. He's not confident. He's just neutral, but Shakur's confidence is going through the roof. Now, I feel at this point, and I wrote this in my notes, that Teo needs to take the initiative. He needs to try something. And in fairness, Teo was still feinting, and now he's throwing the right hand to the body. Now, there's a distinction here. In the first round, he threw the right hand to the body and left hook to the head. But now he's only able to throw the right hand to the body because Shakur is countering with the jab, so he's downloaded that data. Teo is catching the left from Shakur, and he's catching it with his right glove, really good glove placement. So he's being defensively responsible, but it's the offensive issue that's causing him problems. He's feinting, he's trying to change levels, but he's just simply not finding anything. So Teo is feinting, he's changing levels, he's trying to turn southpaw, but it's not resulting in anything. Shakur is taking the center of the ring, and now he's smiling, openly smiling. Teo is throwing punches, but he just needs more. He needs to make an impact. In round 6, and again, I wrote down that Teo needs to go through the phases. He needs to throw 4, 5, 6 punches at a time, and he needs to take the center of the ring. Shakur's counter power jabs are nullifying everything. So I felt at the time that Shakur was like pulling with the jab, but now he's throwing like a power jab, and it's just nullifying everything that Teo's trying to do. Again, there's this temporary switch from Teo to turn southpaw, but there's just no conviction in it. So whatever he's planned from the southpaw position, he's not able to implement it. Teo is now taking a small risk. He's now starting to throw the right hand, and he's putting his head over his front foot. What does that mean? It means that if he lands, it will be significant, but he's more susceptible to the counter. And Shakur he's dominating the counterattacks. Now, this is what I wrote here. I wrote that Teo is an innovative boxer that is lacking innovations. That's what I wrote at the end of round 6, but he's trying. In round 7, Shakur just looks too comfortable. From an opponent's point of view, he is looking too comfortable. Teo, I think, needs to introduce the left hook. He needs to increase the punch output, and he needs to feint effectively. So that's 3 things I think he needs to do. Introduce the left hook. He needs to increase the punch output, and he needs to feint effectively. Not just feint, but feint effectively. Teo is attacking the body. So he's trying to focus on that body, which is a good investment. Again, he's turning southpaw. He really is not able to implement anything from the southpaw position up to this point. And Shakur is smiling, and he's constantly setting that counter trap. The step back, it's working. The feints are not nullifying the effectiveness of the step back. Now, in round 8, there's like panic in Teo's corner, and Teo is actually breathing heavily. And what's happening here is important. What happens in the corner is important. Now, the emotional intensity of the corner is good. So there's a prep talk, but there's no strategic instructions from what I could hear. So the prep talk, that's good, but we need strategic instructions. That's not to be critical, because, maybe they've made that executive decision that no, we just need to get him to be more forceful, and we've already embedded the drills in place. So you never know what the relationship is between fighter and trainer. And obviously this is fighter, trainer, and fighter and father. But again, Teo is trying unsuccessfully to counter his jab. However, I give Teo credit to maintain his composure, to still try, because he's trying to counter the jab. It's like he's trying to counter a left hook over. It's just not working. And Shakur, again, is taking the center of the ring, and he's just smiling. But here's a significant development. Teo is now cut over the left eye. And again, Teo is trying that straight right to the body, but he's not throwing the left hook over the top, probably because of the step back and counter. And now the psychology of Teo has gone from neutral to negative. So Shakur went from neutral from round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's just gone up and up. But Teo's psychology now is dipped. Now he's got the cut. And obviously when you're cut over the left eye, that means the jab's landing. That's going to blur your vision. And also it can increase the possibility of a stoppage. Again, Teo goes southpaw, trying to introduce a different angle, and actually flurries to the body. And this is probably Teo's best round. It looks like as well, turning southpaw, he's trying to get that overhand left counter. So he's trying to introduce something different. It's just not working. Now in round 9, I wrote the following. I wrote, is Teo going to roll the dice? So it's a question. So I feel that he needs to roll the dice, because Shakur is winning the counter game and he's dominating the fight. Teo needs to get Shakur. He needs to utilize the feints effectively. So it's almost like he needs to feint, attack, and then catch, and then throw again. But again, Teo is trying the right hand feint. So before he was feinting with the left hand, now he's trying to feint with the right, but it's just not yielding any results. But he also needs to force Shakur into some high pressure situations, and for whatever reason, he simply can't do it. Again, Teo is trying to counter. He's trying to be a boxer because he is a good boxer and he's got good counter-punching IQ, but he's being ineffective in this area and he's unable to make the adjustments. And typically, Teo can make adjustments, but he's unable to make adjustments in this context. So then we go to round 10. Shakur is still looking so comfortable. This must be so discouraging. Teo is trying to engage more, but Shakur is giving him nothing. So it's like Teo is trying to engage. He's trying to find something to work off, to counter, but Shakur is just nailing that counter punch. Shakur's step back is just beautiful. It's effortless. He still has that perfect timing. He's still in control. He hasn't lost any of his reflexes. And he's basically just walking Teo into that jab, and the cut is getting worse. With regard to the cut, it's starting to bleed, so they're not managing the cut effectively. Of course, it's hard to say that because, you know, cuts are going to bleed when they get hit, but they're not able to stop the blood flow at this time. So then we go to round 11, and this time, and this is really bad, Teo comes out of his corner with blood coming out, and you would think that they would be able to stop the cut when they're working on it in the corner, but it's dripping. This is bad from a psychological perspective. Again, I wrote here that Teo needs to take more risks because Shakur is composed, he's smiling. Teo needs to change the narrative of this fight. He needs to force exchanges. Maybe that's not part of his psychology. He's a clever counterpuncher. So Teo is starting to get some combinations off to the body, but then he gets hit flush with a jab. And then there's a nice straight left from Shakur. So Teo is trying, but I'm starting to realize that maybe this is his boxing identity, to be innovative, to come off the feints, to counter the counterpuncher, but he's unable just to go in there with the dice. Maybe that's not part of his boxing identity. So then you have the final round. Shakur is smiling in the corner. And to me, the question is, does Shakur try to stop Teo, or does he just win the round or survive the round? So he has options and he is so comfortable. So Shakur's confidence level is getting higher and Teo's cut is getting worse. Now remember, if Shakur tries to stop Teo, that increases the punch opportunities for Teo and actually gives Teo a chance. But Shakur again controls the narrative, and this is just simply a boxing masterclass from Shakur. Teo needs to give it everything, but he's just unable to do anything. Again, Teo is trying to box when he needs to turn this into a war. He needs to go through phases of punches, but he's unable to do it. And Shakur's now taking the center of the ring. And the fight ends. And this was a masterclass of beautiful boxing from Shakur. And Shakur gets the unanimous decision, and it should have been unanimous. And I guess the question is Shakur now the best pound-for-pound boxer? Or where do you put him in the pound-for-pound list? Because he definitely needs to be there. That was a great performance. Shakur made a great fighter look ordinary. He made it look easy. He made it look so easy. It was like a Floyd Mayweather type of performance, but from the southpaw position. And here's a question. Does Shakur have the best jab in boxing? So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community, which means I'm interested in your comments, questions, and observations. Now, if you want to support the channel, simply like and subscribe. And if you want to watch more content, then click here or here. So thanks for your time. It is much appreciated. Peace.